I thought, right, because I was out the last couple of days of last week. I was thinking, hoping, fingers crossing, all those sorts of things, that I might come back and the second unit for the Canes would be solved.
Oh, yeah, that second line, trades
line.
and deals and wheeling and all that good
I was
stuff.
like, they're going to turn Martin Necas into a second-line center, 2 second-line wingers that all want to score 30,
right?
and it's going to be solved. All right, I was at a lake, so my phone didn't have great reception throughout. I was like, you know what? When I come back, flooded with notifications, we'll be good to go. Didn't happen that way. They did do something, right? And I know, Dennis, you talked about it last week with the Roslovic signing. They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's like busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We're aware. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard.
Hey, things are things.
Yeah, like if you look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue. I love the Canes' defense, right? And actually, this is one of those deals where, and by the way, sometimes you have to do this, right? A little unplug, a little get your mind off of the moves. When you revisit it, you might, have some things confirmed or kind of, I don't agree with that anymore. Taking a day or two away from the Canes, coming back and looking at their 6, I expect, day one defensemen, it's like, you know what? I like that. They did a really good job there, saved some money, came up with a really good situation. You look at the forwards, and it's like, you know what? Exactly the same thing I thought before I unplugged, I still think now. Right, Roslovic is a good player, right? 27 years old, has a couple, 30-point seasons?
It's 240-plus.
240-plus point seasons. Like, he's a good player.
He's hit that 20-goal plateau once as well.
Here's the question, and it's a question I ask in a bunch of different sports. Sometimes you can trick yourself into thinking you can replace one with 4 who aren't as good, right? All right, we don't have a second-line center, but we have 3 fourth-line centers, and maybe we can add them all together to make a second-line center, right? By the way, Roslovic does have some center experience, so throw him in that mix. But it's like, we got Kuzi, we got Jury, we got the new guy. Maybe, they'll alternate having their hot streaks, and whoever's got the hot hand will play at the second unit. Like, it's like and by the way, I'm not comparing the Canes and Panthers, but it is similar to saying, hey, we have, 4 wide receiver 3s. Think that could be a wide receiver 1?
Oh, so we're gonna Frank Reich this thing?
You don't need the second line guy. If you have 14 third line guys and you feel like you can add them up, right? It's like the same level of total talent, but it's sometimes like there's a reason why trades are made. 3 role players for 1 superstar. Right? You're not going to get the same amount of minutes from 1 superstar as you are from 4 role players. You're just going to get better, high-quality minutes and higher leverage situations from the superstar, so it evens out. The Canes right now, the thing like when I unplugged, left the roster aside, right, like a painter, right? I had a painting I thought was done, but I'm not sure. Let me put the roster over there, go work on something else for a while, come back, and I might go, oh, look at this. It needs more blues. It needs the sky needs to be fixed. I came back and I said, there's a lot of players I kind of like. There's a top line I love. And I'm not sure if I love much else. Right? I really like. Right? And by the way, like the Stahl line, I kind of put in its own separate category. And I'm including Carrier there. So that's kind of, that's is by style choice, just a different beast. The other 3 lines I consider kind of in the same category. And I see the 3 that I'm very confident in at the top line. That's Aho, that's Fetch, that's Jarvis. I see a whole bunch of guys that I'd be really happy with on that 3rd line, right? The 3rd line in that category. And you could put together 100 different combinations for that 2nd line, and I'm not sure any are going to get me excited. You could tell me Drury's there. You could tell me Fosta's there if he's healthy. You could tell me Natchez is there. Natchez is probably the one that gets you the most excited, but then you got to work in all of the baggage that comes with just him still being on the team. You could tell me Kuzi's there. You could tell me some of the new guys are there, and I just don't know if there's enough there to really get my engines flowing, get my engines revving. All 3s and 4s, no 2s, makes that second line a target. That's, by the way, and again, when you come back to the roster and you're still thinking the same things, it's why I really liked bringing back Gensel. Because that would have moved probably Jarvis down to the second line, and suddenly I love the second line.
Hey, you can spread it out a little bit.
Well, yeah, but then who's going up to the first line?
Sure.
Right? You're going to put Natchez up there to bring Jarvis down? Like, we can have all of those conversations, but then it feels like settling, right? And that might be the best option with the way it's configured right now, but it feels like you're covering something up, right? It's like, why do you have the couch over there? It barely looks at the television. There's a stain right under where we put the couch.
Of course.
It's like, we can move things around that might fix some problems, but that doesn't change the underlying fact that you're doing it to cover a stain. And it's the definition. Again, the wide receiver comparison is the best because there are guys that I love as wide receiver 4s that if you ask them to be wide receiver 2s, I'm going like, I don't love them in that situation. That's what I think a lot of the Canes moves have done. They brought in guys who I love or kept guys who I love on a 4th line who I'm like, oh, geez, you're going to have one of the best 4th lines in the league.
Yeah, their bottom 6 is strong.
Yes.
Like, really good. Now, those guys got to play a lot of minutes.
But if those are the middle 6, I don't love them as much. That's exactly what I'm getting at. I love their bottom 6. They're the middle 6. I'm less in love. I'm more in like. And I said this, by the way. I said this on Twitter a couple days ago, and somebody responded with, it's July 3rd or whatever day it was, right? Like, there's still a lot of time, and I agree. And I'm open to Eric Tulsky and the front office pulling some kind of rabbit out of their hat. I just am not 100% sure. There's a lot of 30 goal-scoring wingers walking around available between now and game 1. If you tell me they're going to do something at the deadline, that's a different beast, right? And that becomes more of a possibility because you're going to see teams become sellers and they'll be motivated for different reasons. So if the plan is to stay patient to the deadline, I mean, I'm here for it, but I'm also going to, still talk about the team before that happens. So we're going to have some honest conversations. That is one possibility. If you're going to just wait till the deadline or wait until someone else becomes motivated to sell by how their season is going, we can have those conversations.
You think Eric Tulsky's just sitting there with his feet up listening to us right now? Kane's development camp's taking place, and he's like, you know what? That Felix Unger Sorum guy, that guy, he's going to be right there.
I would love it.
So whatever you guys are talking about, y'all don't even know.
Or Jackson Blake or Bradley Nadeau. If one of them is a secret ace in the hole, I would love it. I hope Eric Tulsky is somewhere confidently telling us, you guys are going to sound like fools. Mark this down, play it back 3 months from now when we have the highest scoring rookie in the league and he's playing perfectly off of Kuzi on the second line. I would love that. What are the chances of it? There's a whole other conversation, but I would love that. If Felix Unger Sorum, who I saw on social media today doing his lap speed test, if he's an 18-year-old wonderkind, I would love it.